Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Stigma-Free Society. So happy to have you all here. And just want you to know that we have a special guest today, our president, Andrea Paquette, president and co-founder of Stigma-Free Society. And I'm going to be introducing her shortly once I give you a little info. So a little bit about myself. I'm a registered clinical counselor, background in teaching, worked with the ministry, with children and family development, and I now have a media company. So creating documentaries and commercials for companies, just helping people tell their stories. And so that's really what Stigma-Free Society, these interviews, wellness chats with Nisha are about as well. It's about capturing the stories of people so that we can share these stories so that stigmas around mental health can be looked at and not cause so much stress. You know, we want to show up as ourselves. So in this video time, we're also going to be chatting about things about like COVID-19, how things are impacting our lives, how some people are enjoying themselves during this time and some people are the opposite. They are having a really tough time. And, you know, I want you to think about where you are on that kind of like on that whole gamut. And it's all new for all of us. And we just want you to know that if you're feeling like you're at risk or in crisis regarding your mental health, know that you need to stop watching, call 911 so that our amazing first responders can do their jobs. And so with that, I'd love to introduce Andrea Paquette, our president, Stigma-Free Society. And she's the leader, you know, a very strong leader who wears many hats for the charity. She is also a passionate presenter for the Stigma-Free School and Community Presentations Program, which is a big part of what she used to do. And I'm hoping it also comes back in September. I'm sure we'll find out. And she's an experienced speaker, presenter, facilitator who lives well with bipolar disorder, having been diagnosed for over 16 years. She holds a double major degree in political science and women's studies, cool combo, and worked for the BC government in the areas of mental health, addictions, social development, and education. She's also a certified mental health first aid and assist suicide prevention. She has also been trained and certified in Mental Health Commission of Canada's Mental Health First Aid course. Andrea is a 2015 Courage to Come Back Award recipient in the category of mental health given by Coast Mental Health. 2013 Mel Cooper Citizen.
You know what? I'm going to stop you right there with my bio because I hate when people talk about my awards.
Do you not like talking about your awards? Okay, let's just say that Andrea has a lot of cool awards for doing good things in the community, like top 20 under 40, la, la, la. So I'm not going to name them all, but I just want you to know there's many because she does good work and she's passionate about what she does and she cares. And that's why we have her here today, and that's why Stigma-Free Society exists. So welcome, Andrea.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be being interviewed by you, Nisha, because I remember when we first started these chats, we didn't know how to figure out the technology.
We didn't know. We actually had chat set up and it just didn't happen. So I just talked by myself for 30 minutes about I didn't even know what. So this is cool. This is cool to actually have this opportunity to talk with you because I know that you're doing great work. And we want to know, like, tell us about yourself. Why are you so passionate about helping youth and their mental wellness?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I have bipolar disorder, and that was actually over 17 years ago. I got to update that bio. And it just seems like at that time, I really didn't have any support. And I even, ended up in the hospital with a suicide attempt. I nearly perished because of it. And I'm really blessed that now I have a very beautiful life. And the biggest part of that, I feel, of course, I have a wonderful husband and love and all of that, which is wonderful. But this charity is also a big love of mine. And having started this as the Bipolar Disorder Society of British Columbia in 2010, and then we evolved into the Stigma-Free Society with co-founder Dave Richardson.
Wow.
Yeah, so we just really wanted to expand our reach as well as that broader brush, right? Because there's a lot of stigmas. For instance, people who have autism and are on the spectrum. They have reached out to us numerous times and have told us they would like more of a focus on that stigma. And we are creating in our new toolkit an inclusion section, which is really great to talk about those things and addictions and people even with physical illness or physical disabilities. So my passion truly is to get conversations free of stigma, igniting across the world. And I just genuinely care. So I want people to be well with mental health.
That's amazing. I think that just from even doing these talks, because you know you have these amazing ideas of how we can start talking about these things and people can feel included, and I feel like it's making a change. There's things happening, even with the people that I'm talking about, or I see someone and they've watched the show, they feel more comfortable opening up about their own mental wellness or things they have challenged them or their families. And I think that's what this is all about, right? It's about making it so that we can have conversations and not have to live in fear or shame or anything.
Yeah, and Nisha, you're really a big part of that, because when you do host these talks, you are facilitating those types of conversations with experts and people in the community. So thank you for that.
No, it's my pleasure. I love it. It brings me so much joy every week. And that's the thing, is what we appreciate about this, what I do, is that there are so many experts, and that the experts, like, we're giving this platform, you've created a platform for people to share and speak their truth. And it's so valuable. These are experts in the field that maybe wouldn't necessarily always get a platform. And that's what I think is amazing. So maybe you could tell us a bit about the history of the organization. Like, how did this all come about? How did you come up with these ideas to like something so fantastic?
Okay, well, back in 2010, before I gained enough support from people in the community to create a new board of directors and have the knowledge of people around me, I just thought I'd focus on my story, because I didn't know how to create a charity initially. It was very overwhelming, a lot of paperwork, you need people, like I just scrapped it. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on my story. And that's exactly what I did. I just talked about it, brought life to it, and organically it grew naturally, where finally just somebody asked me to come and speak to 15 adults, and they were training to be mentors for people with mental health as part of a nonprofit. And so I just said, okay. And I went in and I shared my story. And I'll tell you, in 2009, 2010, it was not talked about. People were absolutely floored and shocked that I was able to come in there and just, speak my truth. And it was hard. Like, it actually took a lot of courage, and I was shaky and it was hard. But then a counselor asked me through a friend, do you want to come into my classroom and speak to some young people? And I was like, yeah, that's my dream. Of course I will. So I went and spoke to 15 students at a school in Victoria where I lived at the time.
Wow.
And when I went in there, I talked about how to stay well, how to get a support system established, and my story, because my story is, you don't want that to happen to you. You can actually put safeguards in place and things we can do that are preventative and that will catch us, like the safety net, right? And when I walked out of that classroom, Nisha, I knew, I was like, this is my mission. This is exactly what I'm meant to do, and what this is going to look like, I don't know. I was a policy analyst in the Ministry of Social Development. I was with them for many years. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. And eventually, it's a lot of work, a lot of fundraising over the years, 3 years, then I was able to transition into full time as now the president of the Stigma-Free Society, and at the time, Bipolar Society.
Wow, what a beautiful journey. And how amazing that that moment you knew, like you felt it. This is what you're meant to do. This is how you're meant to help. Yeah. And if we picture even those 15 kids in that classroom, even if one or two or all of them even took away 20% that changed their life, that is for the betterment of community, right? That is just making us live more in harmony, understand each other better, and so important, help us understand ourselves. And I think during this time of also COVID-19, there's a lot of big energies, a lot of emotions, there's a lot of stress, there's a lot going on. And so in response to COVID-19, I know that you came up with this amazing stigma-free COVID-19 youth wellness toolkit. And if you haven't checked it out, everyone watching, you definitely should, because it is a phenomenal resource for parents and for teachers and for kids. And so, Andrea, maybe you could just remind us about the toolkit, what it is, where people can find it.
Yeah, for sure. So StigmaFreeToolkit.com. Once again, just www.StigmaFreeToolkit.com. Very easy. Back in April, when restrictions started coming down on people, for the last time that I've even seen Dave Richardson, my co-founder, we kept in touch, obviously, by Zoom and phone after that. But the last time we saw each other, I looked at him and said, we need to do something. And he said, yes, and fast. And so I was like, about COVID, right? Look, it's the top issue with mental health right now. It is the top issue. People are suffering. They're alone. People are experiencing depression. Anxiety is really high. So we knew this was coming. And when we put out this idea together that we wanted to create a type of mental health online resource, like a toolkit. And I'd been dreaming of a toolkit for months and months and months, and I never got around. Things get busy. It's a whole new program. So it was slowly developing. We did some video work, people's stories. It was great and all. But this was the time to create and implement and make it real. We did it literally with a team of a total 6 people in 15 days.
Wow.
Yeah, we just knocked it out. Obviously we've been adding to it every single week, daily, even sometimes daily, new content, weekly, whichever it is. And when we got this toolkit out, we realized people were needing it, because the next day City TV called us and said, we have to get this on our program. This is absolutely amazing. So that was really exciting. That was like the day after launch. I was like, oh my gosh, right? And then the Surrey School District, Daniel Toe, who is a big supporter of us and is principal of the Surrey School District and mental health education for the youth, took this on, piloted through the entire Surrey School District, the biggest school district in all of British Columbia. We're working with them coming into the fall, and I'm contacting other school districts as we're going to be forming a new toolkit, which just has more of a general mental health edge to it.
Oh, yeah. It's a great idea. And like what you were saying, that depression and stress and anxiety and all these things are just so big right now. And then I think we're heading into school in September. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a whole other level of anxiety and depression and stress. And so I think this toolkit is just such a great resource and so helpful. And so I think people at home would really love you to get to know the toolkit, see how easy it is to use, how user-friendly and visually appealing it is. So Andrea, maybe you could give us a tour of the toolkit.
Okay.
Maybe do
sure.
Pull it up. Yes.
You bet. I'll do a share screen.
Thank you.
And I didn't know I was going to be showing it.
You got this. The technology, you're a master.
Okay, so just hold on 1 second. So I'm going to bring that up and ensure that my email doesn't come up or something hilarious like that.
That would add to the humor of this. That would be perfect.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and here we are. Just 1 second.
Hey there. Thanks for visiting the Stigma-Free COVID-19 Youth Wellness Toolkit.
Okay, and I'm going to share screen now, and hopefully this will work.
I'm impressed that you know how to do this.
I never really do on StreamYard, but I'm going to.
I'm sure it will work. And for those, watching at home, there you go. Here it is. And I like how there's two sides of it.
Yeah, I hope everybody can see that okay.
Yeah, I think so. I can see it.
Yeah, okay. So this is the youth side, grades 4 to 6, and then we have the teen side, grades 7 to 12. These portals up here, parents, guardians, and caregivers and educators, they specifically go to the areas of the toolkit that are the most relevant for those audiences. However, it's all within the same toolkit. So for instance, say if I go onto teens and I just want to check out the toolkit, what's really great is the navigation bar here is really linking to everything that is on the site. So it just makes it really easy. And when I come to this page here, we have a welcome message that just really explains what the toolkit is, what is the purpose, and that we're here for you during this really hard time. Because let's admit it, this is a very hard time.
It is. This is a hard time.
Yeah, exactly. So inspiring stories to COVID-19 teens activities, to resources for parents, guardians, and caregivers, and our video toolkit, which is amazing for the library here. And of course, our live events, we have Dr. Dana Wasserman, Lindsay Sarah, who's also our youth counselor, and of course, Nisha, and Daniel Toe will be joining us in September.
Amazing.
What's that?
Dr. Dana and Lindsay are amazing.
Amazing, amazing. Oh, downloadable resources. So our new toolkit going into the fall will be similar to this, but additional and non-COVID based.
Okay.
And Maddie, who's our amazing communications and project manager, she ensures that we're featuring amazing content and a lot of new content every single week. We have stories from people in the community through video, new tips for helping your child with anxiety, excessive worry. There's just a lot to take in. We're even offering new $2,000, 2 of them, scholarships for post-secondary students who have faced stigma.
Wow.
As well, our blog post information, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, where we've really been working on getting the message out. So if people want to check out the toolkit, again, just come to StigmaFreeToolkit.com. And now I'm going to stop the share screen.
That's fantastic. And as you had mentioned that, there's some great resources for children with anxiety. It's actually interesting with so many of the children that I have talked to, almost all of them have some anxiety right now about what's happening with COVID.
Yeah.
So, this is a great resource to even have those conversations with your children, because I think some people might not even realize the level of where their children are at.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't hurt to just do a little feel out there of how are your kids doing? Check in with them. And these are some really nice examples or conversation starters so that, you can just be on the same level, because as we go into school, it's good to just kind of know, where are your kids at? Where are you at? Because there's a lot of uncertainty. So definitely check out the toolkit. Maybe you could tell us a bit about some upcoming projects related to the toolkit.
Yeah, as I was mentioning, the general mental health toolkit that's going to be marketed to the school districts so they can distribute it amongst all of their schools across BC. And we also want to target across Canada. Mm-hmm. The cool name, we are still thinking of it. I like the word school and student in there, but we're, repurposing, reinventing the new toolkit. So if you have a good name, Stigma-Free School Toolkit, I don't know, let us know, because we are pondering on that at the minute. And with this new toolkit, it's really amazing because it will be something that educators and school counselors can use in the schools or virtually. So it's not something that could just be used online, but, they can watch videos, have lesson plans, activities, illustrated animations, etc. within the school itself, but also a lot of students are going to be in hybrid situations where they're at school some of the time, perhaps, and then online. So we want to make sure we have a product that will be useful to them and very accessible. One of the things that I notice happening is there's a lot of other, well, not a lot, but there is other types of companies and pitches to school districts, but the COVID-19 is free. That's what we plan to do and keep it free, of course.
Yeah.
With this new toolkit for the schools, we just ask a small donation. And for-profit companies are selling similar products, I'm not coming down on them or anything, but I think we do have a unique edge that when we get a payment for our product, it goes straight into the operations of the charity.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great to know. And I think it's good for everyone that there's just so much caring about the community, right? That this is done to help each other, and it's like a true not-for-profit. Tell us a bit about the parent resource guide. So what can parents do with this resource guide? What do they just like go through, read some questions? Like, what are some ideas from that?
Yeah, for sure. So our wonderful Lindsay Goulet, who's our community development manager in Victoria, worked very hard with other members of our team, parents. Dana, I know, contributed a lot to it. She's a psychologist. Lindsay, Sarah, Maddie, everyone came together on this piece because right now under the parent section, there's conversation cards where young people can talk to their parents very frankly, openly, stigma-free. That's what those cards are designed to do. But I felt like we needed more in the parent resource section. There's some great videos and other things. So for a very long time, Lindsay has invested her heart into a type of parent's guide. And today, Maddie and I met and decided, okay, how are we going to present this on the actual website? And I believe in section 1, 2, and 3, there'll be different topics. For instance, do you think your youth has a mental health issue? And that's where you go first. And then within that will be like a mental health distress quiz, or there'll be ways that you can help determine like a checklist. So it's quite a large undertaking, but we do plan to have that wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. And the parent guide, I feel, is just amazing for caregivers, guardians, and parents, of course. So that's where we are with that.
That sounds so all-inclusive. And just that, it's helping it's like just helping so many people, that it's helping the youth, it's helping the parents, it's helping the educators, and it's just really benefiting everyone. And I feel that especially with like where we're at right now, but also going into the fall, maybe talk a bit about like, what are some of these, like, what do you see as the big benefits to all of these groups or to society as a general, the benefits of this COVID-19 toolkit?
Yeah, I see huge benefits what's going to be in the new upcoming toolkit at the end of September, but obviously so much in COVID specific as well, because what I love about our toolkits, our approach, our education. Yes, we used to go into the schools, but you know what? We're creating a documentary with stories, my story. We're recreating that presentation into a documentary. So that will never be lost, and that will be part of the new toolkit. And then teachers will also be given questions and ways to approach that presentation just as when we came in live, because we don't want to lose that piece. And I think keeping it with the whole approach of the stories is really important. Our education is very preventative. That's what Daniel Toe from the Surrey School District Principal has told me so many times, why he loves what we do. Because we're not just about, hey, when you're like in the hospital having a crisis, you're in psychosis, come to this resource. It isn't that. We're not crisis-based. And there's a lot of resources that are like that, and we need them. And they're great. Like Kids Help Phone and the Foundry, and it's wonderful. And those support lines are needed. But we really try to get to the youth before it gets to that place. So for instance, our 10 tips for mental health, when we talk about adequate sleep and quality of sleep, when we discuss that, you know, you shouldn't have shame if you're prescribed medication, because I was so shameful of that I went off of my medication and I got really sick. You know, we don't push for meds or against medication, but we talk about these things. There's a lot of stigma around those types of discussions and self-stigma, Nisha, because people are very ashamed. And what we do with our education, our toolkits, and our approach is bring those conversations out. And especially talking about suicide, I don't shy away from it. I do it in an appropriate manner during my presentations, but I tell as young as grade 6, and the teachers have thanked me, because youth that young are committing suicide.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this stuff, not throw it under the rug and be ashamed that we're just going to trigger everybody and we can't do it. Well, you know what? We're ready and we do it.
It's amazing. It's amazing because I think that a lot of youth probably feel alone and feel like it's something that just they themselves are going through. And, you know, I know that there are some really dark and lonely moments as a youth, as an adult, as everything. And yet when you open up the conversation so that people know they're not alone, then they get some hope. There's hope, or there's a feeling of other people have gone through this and their support. And so I really appreciate that you do that you create that conversation. It can change and save people's lives. You know, why would we hold back?
And we have been told, we have gotten feedback, surveys, people call me, thank you for what you do. I really don't think that without your charity services that my daughter would be alive. We've gotten comments like that. And every time I hear something that valuable and amazing, that's why I keep doing this work. And I'm so glad that we have a wonderful team who can continue on. And in COVID and after COVID, we're not going down.
No, it's so powerful. This is something that must be within our communities, and the support for this, I know, is huge. And also maybe we can talk about like other projects that people can look forward to for Stigma-Free Society.
Well, it's really interesting because our focus has often just been young people. And so Dave Richardson is very passionate about the farming community, the remote communities, the rural communities.
Yeah.
And did you know the highest suicide rate in the world is in the UK with male farmers?
No idea.
Yeah, like the situation in the farming and remote communities is, and as well in Indigenous communities, it's very serious. And what we decided to do was create a type of program online. I'm not going to get into it too much. This is in the beginning stages, but we're really excited about working with those communities because we feel we want to create a program of sorts to work with them, to bring peer support, training to their communities where they can support each other, because there are no psychiatrists hardly at all, or even available for phone chats. And yeah, it's just counselors are lacking in those areas. They're just not there. So we want to make sure that we can create something that'll be sustainable and great for those communities.
That's fantastic, because I feel that easy access is really the answer to so many things. If parents want something fast, or youth do, or educators, like they can go right on to the toolkit, go on to Stigma-Free, they can find information, and it provides help right away. And I think that sometimes you're right, like people may have a feeling of, well, there isn't someone in my community, and even if there was, maybe I wouldn't reach out to them because maybe that's just not what we do. So this is a great first step.
Yeah.
And also, like, I know that in Stigma-Free, you really want to create something that is so user-friendly, that people enjoy, that they want to use. And so how can people provide feedback or give new ideas for the new youth toolkit?
Yeah, that is a really good point. On our current COVID-19 toolkit, we have a feedback tab. We've gotten quite a bit of feedback. Like I said, one of them was from an individual whose son is on the spectrum with autism and said, "You're not including anything about this." And so we decided, let's do something about this. And we talked to this individual and they were very helpful, but initially very angry. So we decided, you know what, we're going to take the feedback that we have and bring it into our new toolkit, and also to adjust the current COVID-19 toolkit as well. I feel if people want to give feedback, it's very easy. You can contact me through StigmaFreeSociety.com. On a contact tab, it goes directly to me. And as well, we're going to be doing a shout out newsletter I'd say within the next 2 weeks. Sign up for our newsletter on the main Stigma-Free Society website. It's very easy. You just click yes and put your name and email. And if people could share the word that we are about feedback. I feel honestly, everybody has something awesome to contribute.
I fully agree. And I love that you engage people in the community to be part of this, to support this. And so, Andrea, we just want to say thank you for all of your support and everything that you've done with the Stigma-Free Society. And as I'm ending, of course, just like
that's so funny. I turned mine off earlier.
Yeah, mine was off, and then somehow a part of the computer it's going through all this technological stuff.
I got it, no problem.
So, Andrea, basically, thank you for all that you've done. And if you found that this was helpful, or you think somebody could benefit from this, whether it be a parent, an educator, a youth, please share this on your page, and let's just keep the conversation going and create a stigma-free society. So thank you, Andrea. Have an amazing day, and all the best to all of you out there. Much love.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye.